The abdominal pain. I walked 5 kilometers on the overpass before I managed to hail a cab. By the time I arrived at the hospital, half my body was covered in blood. The doctor told me I was too late. The baby was gone. My heart was ripped open. I called Liam Evans, but Liam Evans said, "Let's get a divorce first. We can remarry once her emotions are stable. Our baby is gone. There's no use being sad, but we can save another innocent woman." I remained silent for a long time, then softly said, "All right, then we're both free." Tiffany Miller successfully took my place, and I, disheartened, moved abroad. I was fortunate enough to marry a good man and build a happy family. 3 years later, I unexpectedly ran into Ethan Hayes. He, however, grabbed my neck and roared furiously, "You got married again. Didn't we agree to remarry in the future? Are you that desperate? Can't you live without a man? Olivia, you disappeared for 3 years. Have you finally decided to show up today? You're here for money, aren't you? This is an important occasion today. I'm warning you. Get lost, otherwise you won't get a single cent." I stood at the airport entrance, verbally abused by the man walking towards me. It took me a long moment of stunned confusion to recognize him. He was Ethan Hayes, my ex-husband, and the glamorous and polished woman beside him was Tiffany Miller. There was a time when Tiffany Miller's outfit was patched. She knelt before me, begging me to sponsor her university education. I felt a pang of pity and covered all her living expenses. I never imagined that this girl from a small rural town would have intended to usurp another's place from the very beginning. After a few years, she was dressed head to toe in designer brands, looking like a wealthy socialite. It seemed that after forcing me out, she had successfully reeled in Ethan Hayes. After verbally abusing me a bit more, Ethan Hayes still didn't seem satisfied. He scoffed contemptuously. "Back then, I was just trying to save someone, and you disappeared in a fit of pique. I thought you had more backbone. Why are you showing up again today? Olivia, look in the mirror, look at yourself now. You're nothing but the lowest of the low. You've been struggling since you left me, haven't you? Now you know the importance of money? Now you realize a successful husband is your support? Too bad. It's a bit late. From the moment you threw that tantrum and disappeared, you stopped being worthy of being my wife. Let me be clear. Even if you appear before me now, there's no way I'm remarrying you." I shook my head, speechless. "You're mistaken. I'm here at the airport for business." Ethan Hayes eyed me up and down. "You're here at the airport for business? Can you even afford a flight? If you want money, just say so. Don't come up with high-sounding excuses that make people look down on you." Tiffany Miller also said mockingly, "Sister Olivia, Ethan and I are getting married soon. You're shamelessly showing up like this makes things very difficult for us. What's more, Ethan's company is growing bigger and bigger. You might not care about your reputation, but we have to consider the impact." Ethan Hayes pulled a stack of cash from his wallet and threw it directly in my face. "This cash is enough for you for a few days. Now just settle down." He took Tiffany Miller's hand and walked away triumphantly. I was too angry to speak. I wanted to chase after them and talk back. But checking the time, Liam Evans should be getting off his flight soon. I used to always be late picking him up, which would leave him looking disappointed. Today I was working out when I suddenly remembered I had to pick him up, so I rushed here, breathless, without even having time to change my outfit. Perhaps seeing me drenched in sweat and with disheveled hair made Ethan Hayes assume I wanted to get back together with him. I took a deep breath, composed myself, and entered the terminal. I had a loving husband. Why should I let two mad dogs ruin my mood? However, as soon as I entered the VIP lounge, I frowned. The usually neat and quiet VIP lounge was very noisy today. Many men were talking loudly, blowing smoke, filling the entire VIP lounge with a murky atmosphere. Ethan Hayes was at the center of their attention, with everyone praising him. Mr. Hayes's company has been gaining strong momentum recently. This collaboration with Key Chu Group is sure to succeed. He's bound to skyrocket in the future. We hope Mr. Hayes will let us have a taste of success once he secures the contract with Key Chu Group. Ethan Hayes was beaming with satisfaction, smiling triumphantly. Tiffany Miller, standing next to him, also adopted the air of a CEO's wife, reveling in everyone's flattery. The second-hand smoke made me cough. A portly man nearby walked over and said discontentedly, "Hey bumpkin, you've got the wrong place. This is the VIP lounge, not somewhere for you to rest. Get out." I unhappily pulled out my VIP card. "I'm not mistaken. I paid for this." The man was about to say more when Ethan Hayes walked over. He said coldly, "Olivia, Are you really going to such lengths to beg me for money? You're actually bleeding money to get into the VIP lounge? Before I could speak, he casually stuffed a few bills into my hand and then snapped my VIP card in half. The money has been refunded to you. You're no longer qualified to stay in the VIP lounge, so can you get out now? I was so angry I almost cursed. I called over a VIP lounge attendant. The attendant looked me over, then said coldly, "If you don't agree to Mr. Hayes's refund, then by regulation, you may indeed remain in the VIP lounge." I pointed to the no smoking sign on the wall. "Can you make them put out their cigarettes?" The attendant became even colder. "These gentlemen have all paid the fine. They're allowed to smoke freely for an hour. If you can't stand it, you're welcome to leave. Honestly, some places aren't meant for ordinary people." I took a deep, angry breath. "I'm going to report you." The attendant scoffed, "Madam, the VIP lounge serves VIPs. Your status determines that even if you report me, your complaint won't carry much weight. In short, I don't care. Feel free." At this moment, Ethan Hayes looked at me with disdain. "Olivia, 3 years and you've become such an embarrassment." Tiffany Miller also put on a feigned look of concern. "Sister Olivia, you should leave quickly. Staying here will only make you a laughingstock." A curious businessman nearby asked Ethan Hayes, "Mr. Hayes, you know this person?" Ethan Hayes's smile looked a bit unnatural. "When I was young, I acted on impulse and made a bad choice of partner." The surrounding businessmen nodded in agreement. "Normal, perfectly normal. These scheming women just love throwing themselves at rich men. Who hasn't been tricked by a few women in their youth? It's good you've seen through her now, Mr. Hayes and his wife have such deep affection for each other. It seems you've navigated through the wrong turns and found true love. You only truly appreciate genuine love when you understand how terrible gold diggers can be, so this experience might have been useful after all. These people wantonly mocked and disparaged me. Ethan Hayes, who had once been my husband, knew I was being wrongly accused, yet he didn't say a single word in my defense. Instead, he pointed at me contemptuously and said, "I don't know how she found out I was coming here to meet Mr. Evans today. Look at her, she's pathetically here to beg for money, truly shameless and disgusting." Everyone nearby looked at me with disdain and accused me. "Madam, you should have some self-respect. Just leave. This is a high-class event where everyone is discussing business. Your behavior will only cause disgust, and you won't get a single cent. You have hands and feet. Wouldn't it be better to work hard? Why are you always thinking of getting something for nothing?" I said coldly, "I'm not here for money today." Running into Ethan Hayes was just a coincidence. Ethan Hayes sneered, "This pathetic attempt at playing hard to get. Do you still fantasize about me falling for it? Olivia, I did love you once, but my patience has long been worn thin by you." He put his arm around Tiffany Miller, looking at me as if to show off, "I'm already in love with someone else, and we're getting married soon. As for you, you're neither my ideal woman nor my deepest desire. Just a passerby. Your presence here today doesn't evoke any good memories in me. I only find your tactics dirty and disgusting." I don't know who started applauding first. The entire room full of businessmen applauded with admiration. "Mr. Hayes is magnificent. Mr. Hayes is so dominant protecting his wife." This greasy, fawning scene made my stomach churn. I couldn't be bothered to argue with these rotten people and turned to leave. However, Tiffany Miller suddenly blocked me. "Olivia, are you just going to leave like that? Don't you think you owe me an apology?" I looked at Tiffany Miller, bewildered. "What do you mean?" Tiffany Miller pointed to her high heels. "My shoes are custom made. 30,000. You deliberately stepped on me just now. The shoe surface is already damaged." Everyone looked at me. A wealthy businessman said, "How can this woman be so ill-mannered?" "Not only ill-mannered, but also very vindictive," Ethan Hayes said to me with a cold face. "Olivia, you've really become more and more degraded," I said, speechless. "I didn't step on her," Tiffany Miller sneered. "So, you're saying I'm lying? I'm about to become the wife of a CEO of a listed company. What kind of identity do I have? What's my status? Would I waste my time falsely accusing you?" Upon hearing this, Ethan Hayes's gaze towards me grew even more hostile. He yelled at me, "Olivia, did you step on her or not? Don't lie here and embarrass me." I scoffed, "Lunatic. What do I have to do with you? How am I embarrassing you?" "Ethan Hayes, don't be so full of yourself. I haven't liked you for ages, and I'm not here for you today." Ethan Hayes's face turned ashen. All right. So you don't know what's good for you, do you? Then I won't help you anymore. Pay for the damage, or well, call the police." The circle of people around us all loudly supported Ethan Hayes. We must call the police and teach her a lesson. I checked the time. I was going to be late picking him up again. I thought for a moment and said to Tiffany Miller, "I'll give you 30,000 for now, but this matter isn't over. I'll ask the police to investigate. If it's my fault, keep the 30,000. If it's not, you'll return the money and publicly apologize to me." I took out my cell phone, intending to transfer money to Tiffany Miller via Venmo. Ethan Hayes, however, reached out and knocked my cell phone to the ground. He pointed at my nose and said, 30,000. Do you even have it? Don't try to appear rich when you're not. If you had 30,000, would you be coming to me for money today? Olivia, you're not trying to get a payday loan, are you? I never thought you could fall this far. My cell phone was smashed. I wanted to leave, but everyone blocked me. Even the attendant locked the VIP lounge door, claiming we had to wait for the police to arrive and resolve the financial dispute before anyone could leave. I knew that beneath the high-sounding rhetoric, it was merely to satisfy the needs of the distinguished guests in her eyes. Everyone was blaming me. I could only sit in the corner, silently waiting for the police to arrive. My gaze cut through the crowd, and I saw Tiffany Miller looking at me. Her eyes were full of glee. I was stunned for a moment. Was she happy to be tormenting me, her benefactor? I was Tiffany Miller's benefactor. She used to say that all the time. Ever since I sponsored her university education, she had been endlessly grateful to me. Whenever she had time, she would come to my house to clean, cook, and wash dishes. Even though I had a housekeeper, she would insist on taking over all the chores. During Chinese New Year, she even insisted on prostrating before me. I tried to stop her, but she said it was a custom in her hometown. I thought my kindness was being rewarded, and I had met a good, grateful girl. But I later realized the truth. Give an inch, they'll take a mile. The more I helped Tiffany Miller, the more she envied me. The more I gave her, the more entitled she felt. Even believing I wasn't giving her enough, the more humble she acted in front of me. The more she wanted to trample me underfoot and reclaim the dignity she felt she had lost to me. She was not only an ungrateful person, but also scheming and manipulative, a manipulative social climber. Her frequent visits to my house gave her the opportunity to get close to Ethan Hayes. I don't know when they started having an affair behind my back. By the time I found out, the fetus inside me was already quite developed. For the sake of the baby's safe arrival, I held my breath and endured. But I never expected that on the day I was going into labor, Tiffany Miller would cause a scene, threatening to cut her wrists, forcing Ethan Hayes to abandon me on the overpass. Memories flooded back, making me sigh involuntarily. At some point, Tiffany Miller squeezed in beside me. She whispered in my ear, "Sister Olivia, the tables have turned now. Everything you once had, I now possess. And you have nothing left." I nodded calmly, including that scumbag Ethan Hayes. I didn't want him anymore, so he's all yours. When I used to sponsor you, you always liked my second-hand clothes and bags. I never thought you wouldn't mind a second-hand husband either. Tiffany Miller flared up immediately, raising her hand to slap me. I reached out and blocked her arm. Tiffany Miller, however, sneered, "No matter what. I won. You divorced Ethan, and your baby wasn't born. It's impossible for you to get any of Ethan's family assets now. Oh, and Sister Olivia, you didn't know, did you? Back when I was serving you tea and water, I was secretly putting abortion pills into your drinks." My mind went blank. I remembered the intense abdominal pain on the day of my miscarriage. I remembered the baby who died before I even got to meet him. In an instant, anger surged through me. I stood up and slapped Tiffany Miller hard, but Ethan Hayes rushed over. He yelled at me, "Olivia, you dare hit her?" He kicked me hard in the chest. I groaned and fell to the ground. My entire chest was in excruciating pain. I couldn't even breathe, let alone make a sound. Ethan Hayes, however, wouldn't let me go. He grabbed my hair and said fiercely, "Apologize to Tiffany," but at that moment, I couldn't speak at all. Ethan Hayes pushed me hard, sending me tumbling into the corner. I struggled to get up, but Tiffany Miller kicked me hard in the back of my knee. I lost my balance, stumbled, and fell to my knees, feeling a sharp pain in my kneecap. The wealthy businessmen around us all turned a blind eye. Some even seemed eager to join in and hit me. Just then, the VIP lounge door was suddenly thrown open with a crash. The attendant said in an excited and fawning voice, "Mr. Evans, you're here." Tears instantly streamed down my face. My husband had arrived. "Mr. Evans, you must be exhausted after your flight, aren't you? "We've prepared some tea, Mr. Evans. I'm from Tian Cheng Group. Please give us your kind consideration." "Mr. Evans, this is a gift from our jewelry store for your wife. We hope you'll accept it." Everyone was flattering Liam Evans, doing their utmost to curry favor with him. Liam Evans responded with a distracted grunt. I saw him looking left and right, seemingly searching for something. Finally, it was Ethan Hayes who approached Liam Evans. He said ingratiatingly to Liam Evans, "Mr. Evans, I'm the CEO of Pay Group. We sincerely hope to collaborate with Ki Chu Group. Here's the business proposal I prepared overnight. Please take a look." I struggled to stand up, wanting to call out to Liam Evans. However, Tiffany Miller, who was beside me, pressed down on my shoulder, forcing me to sit back down on the ground. She covered my mouth with a dirty, foul-smelling dirty rag and whispered viciously in my ear, "My husband is discussing an incredibly important business deal. Olivia, you want to ask for money at a time like this? You truly have no shame. If you ruin my husband's reputation, I'll kill you." Ethan Hayes held the business proposal in both hands, offering it to Liam Evans. However, Liam Evans did not take it. He said irritably, "Another day? I'm not in the mood for business today." Ethan Hayes froze. His face was full of embarrassment, but he didn't dare get angry. Instead, he forced a smile. Liam Evans wasn't paying any attention to him at all. He was on the phone, saying exasperatedly to his assistant beside him, "Haven't you reached Olivia yet? What's wrong with that woman?" The assistant, drenched in sweat, nervously said, "I've tried over a dozen different numbers, but they all say her cell phone is off." Liam Evans said, "Then track the signal source." "This is too much. She's late every time I land. And this time she just turned her cell phone off." Towards the end, there was a hint of subtle hurt in Liam Evans's dominant voice, undetectable to most. Hearing my name, Ethan Hayes's expression shifted slightly, and he said, as if seeking praise, "Mr. Evans, are you looking for Olivia?" Liam Evans immediately looked at Ethan Hayes, his eyes fixed on him. "What? You saw her?" Ethan Hayes mistook Liam Evans's concern for hatred and immediately boasted, "Yes, I saw her. Not only did I see her, but I also beat that woman up, Mr. Evans. I don't know how that despicable woman offended you, but I can tell she really angered you. Don't worry, I can handle these minor issues for you in the future." Liam Evans's face changed drastically. "What did you say?" He reached out and grabbed Ethan Hayes's collar. Being almost 1.9 meters tall, he practically lifted Ethan Hayes off the ground. "Where is she? Where is Olivia?" Liam Evans roared at him. Ethan Hayes's face turned pale. He stammered, "Mr. Evans, with a thud. Liam Evans threw Ethan Hayes to the ground. The terrified businessman had already automatically cleared a path, revealing me in the corner. Tiffany Miller was still crouching beside me, covering my mouth, hidden by the crowd. She had no idea what was happening. Seeing Liam Evans approach, she immediately said, "Mr. Evans, this despicable woman is here to ask my husband for money. Please don't let her delay our business." Liam Evans directly slapped her across the face. Tiffany Miller shrieked, covered her face, and fell to the ground. "Liam Evans," I choked out, my voice thick with tears. Liam Evans's eyes welled up. He immediately pulled me into his arms. Tiffany Miller stared blankly at the scene. She stammered, "Mr. Evans, is she your family?" "I'm sorry. We didn't know, unfortunately." Liam Evans didn't give her time for any more nonsense. He waved his hand, and Liam Evans's bodyguards immediately rushed forward. Ethan Hayes and Tiffany Miller were dragged into the corner. They covered both of their mouths and severely beat them. The wealthy businessmen were all terrified, cautiously glancing at me. Some tried to sneak away. However, Liam Evans said coldly, "Gentlemen, no one is allowed to leave until I understand the full story." The businessmen panicked, their faces turning deathly pale. When Ethan Hayes and Tiffany Miller were tormenting me earlier, all of them were accomplices, without exception. Not a single one of them was innocent. Among them, some desperately tried to make amends, wanting to distance themselves from the situation. But under Liam Evans's cold gaze, a businessman broke down, falling to his knees and choosing to confess everything. They lined up to apologize to me. I remained silent, glaring at them indignantly. Liam Evans's face was ashen, and he also ignored them. These businessmen were completely at a loss, each filled with unease. One of them raised his hand and slapped himself hard across the face. The others had an epiphany, as if seeing a glimmer of hope, and began frantically slapping themselves. Liam Evans and I just watched, stone-faced. Half an hour later, All the businessmen's faces were bruised and swollen. In fact, most of them had beaten their faces to a bloody pulp. Liam Evans finally said faintly, "That's enough." The businessmen were dazed and still disoriented, slapped themselves 2 more times before finally stopping. The businessmen thanked him profusely, tears streaming down their faces, but Liam Evans didn't look at them again. He looked at Ethan Hayes and Tiffany Miller in the corner. The 2 of them were already beaten beyond recognition. Liam Evans said to Tiffany Miller, "Are you certain my wife stepped on your shoe and damaged it?" Even at a time like this, Tiffany Miller was still being stubborn. She said hypocritically, "Mr. Evans, I believe Mrs. Evans didn't do it on purpose. I didn't want to blame her in the first place. It was others who were stirring things up and escalating the situation." Liam Evans nodded. "All right. Liam Evans, never bully people by abusing my power. Right is right, and wrong is wrong." He took my hand and led me to Tiffany Miller. Tiffany Miller recoiled in fear. Liam Evans said coldly, "Stand up." His words weren't harsh, but they carried an inherent authority, even though Tiffany Miller was bruised all over. She still didn't dare defy Liam Evans and stood up, enduring the pain. There was indeed a clear footprint on her right shoe. Liam Evans softly asked me, "Wife, do you want to step on her left foot?" I smiled at Liam Evans and heavily stepped on Tiffany Miller's left foot. She groaned in pain. But I didn't release my foot. Instead, I concentrated my entire body weight on that foot, stepping down hard. Tiffany Miller was already crying from the pain. She whimpered, "Sister Olivia, I was wrong. Please forgive me." I lifted my foot. Now there was also a shoe print on her left foot, and this shoe print was distinctly different from the one on her right foot. Tiffany Miller's face immediately turned pale. Liam Evans said coldly, "So who actually dirtied your shoe?" Tiffany Miller stammered, "I didn't see." Liam Evans gestured for a bodyguard. "I don't believe someone could have their shoe dirtied without seeing who did it. Help her remember." The bodyguard hit her hard, not treating Tiffany Miller like a woman at all. Soon, Tiffany Miller's screams echoed through the room. Finally, Tiffany Miller cried out, I remember. I dirtied my shoe myself. I was wrong, Mr. Evans. Please forgive me." Liam Evans couldn't be bothered to respond to Tiffany Miller. He waved his hand, dismissing the bodyguard. He looked around at the businessmen, then said coldly, "You are all business magnates, exceptionally intelligent. Were you unable to figure out how to solve this, or did you simply have no intention of solving it? You could have cleared my wife's name in 1 second. Yet you helped those 2, falsely accusing and assaulting her. Were you taking advantage of my absence, Liam Evans?" All the businessmen shivered, lowering their heads, not daring to speak. Liam Evans sneered, "For everyone here, Kichu Group will not collaborate with any of you for the next 3 years." Hearing the penalty, the businessmen's faces turned pale, and they nodded, wincing a bit. Many of them would go bankrupt without the Kichu Group's collaboration. Liam Evans looked at Ethan Hayes. "As for you, I'm afraid I'll have to give you special attention. No matter who your company partners with, I will fully suppress them. Anyone who does business with you will be my enemy." Ethan Hayes looked at Liam Evans in despair, as if all strength had been drained from him. "Mr. Evans, you're trying to destroy me." Liam Evans couldn't be bothered to say another word to him. He embraced me and turned to leave. Ethan Hayes suddenly raised his voice, shouting, "Mr. Evans, I'll tell you a secret if you let me off the hook. A secret about your wife, Olivia." Ethan Hayes's words made my body stiffen, but Liam Evans's steps didn't falter in the slightest. He said faintly, "We are one as husband and wife, our hearts connected. There's no need to listen to an outsider trying to sow discord." My nose stung, and hot tears streamed down my face. In his desperation, Ethan Hayes shouted recklessly behind us, "Liam Evans, Olivia has been married before. I'm her ex-husband." Liam Evans turned around and looked at Ethan Hayes with disdain. "I already knew that, but then again, who hasn't encountered a few scumbags in their youth? You cheated during our marriage and caused the death of your own child, and you still have the nerve to yell here? What happened back then wasn't Olivia's fault. It was yours, to deliver a psychological blow." Ethan Hayes was completely crushed. He walked dejectedly to Tiffany Miller, reaching out to help her up. "Let's go." Tiffany Miller, however, shoved him hard, crying out, "It's all your fault, all your fault. You kept promising to marry me, but you dragged it out for 3 years. If you had given me more money, would I have cared about $30,000 shoes?" Ethan Hayes stood frozen, looking foolishly at Tiffany Miller. "Didn't you say you didn't care about money at all?" Tiffany Miller screamed frantically. So, Tiffany Miller is that cheap in your eyes, is that it? I couldn't be bothered to watch the two of them fighting amongst themselves anymore. I linked my arm through Liam Evans's and exited the VIP lounge. Outside, I saw the terminal manager, with a few others, severely reprimanding the VIP lounge attendant. The incident in the VIP lounge had already spread throughout the airport. The airport knew they were in trouble and was actively trying to make amends. Seeing me come out, the bruised and swollen attendant immediately ran over and knelt on the ground, begging for my forgiveness. I ignored her, simply walked around her, and continued forward. Why repay evil with kindness? Repay evil with justice. I had no obligation to forgive her. My injuries were superficial, and after being treated at the hospital, they healed quickly. But Liam Evans insisted I be hospitalized for a full checkup. His eyes remained red. In the hospital room, with just the two of us, he held me in his arms and said with a pained expression, "Wife, I'll never make you pick me up from the airport again." I was overjoyed and immediately agreed, all right. Who knew Liam Evans's face would immediately fall? I thought to myself, speechless, he's really saying one thing but meaning another. I quickly rephrased, but Liam Evans, I want to pick you up. As long as you don't mind if I'm late in the future. Liam Evans's expression immediately cleared, and he promised me, from now on, I'll wait for you in the terminal, no matter how late you are. I'll wait. My heart bloomed with joy, and I secretly gave a peace sign behind my back. But just as I finished, I noticed a mirror behind me. Liam Evans had seen my little gesture. I quickly changed the subject and said to Liam Evans, "How come there aren't any flowers in the hospital room?" Liam Evans immediately said, "I'll go buy some right away." Watching his hurried departure, I smiled sweetly. The days in the hospital were boring. Actually, I wasn't sick at all. But some test results wouldn't be ready until the next day. That evening, while Liam Evans was fast asleep, I secretly snuck downstairs to get some fresh air. Suddenly, someone called my name from behind me. I was startled. I thought it was Liam Evans, but to my surprise, it was Ethan Hayes standing behind me. I looked at Ethan Hayes warily, ready to call for help at any moment. However, Ethan Hayes knelt before me with a thud. He looked at me with a profound expression and said, "Olivia, do you know why I never married Tiffany Miller? Because I could never forget you. I've been waiting for you to come back." He even started crying. I scoffed, speechless. "Ethan Hayes, that's not what you were saying at the airport." Ethan Hayes explained with a sincere expression, "Olivia, I purposely said those things to anger you. I loved you so much that your leaving all those years ago made me angry with you ever since. If you had just bowed your head and said something soft, I would have immediately embraced you. We were married for years. You should know I'm more receptive to gentle persuasion than force." He kept talking, even reaching out to hug me. I took a step back and said coldly, "Ethan Hayes, don't come near me," he said with a sorrowful expression. "Olivia, are you still angry with me?" Watching his pretentious act, I only felt disgusted. I couldn't even be bothered to say another word to him. I pointed to the hospital entrance. "Get out." I turned and walked towards the building. Ethan Hayes pleaded, "Olivia, I swear to God, I still love you." At the airport today, I just wanted to curb your temper so you wouldn't be so willful in the future. You have no idea how happy I was when I saw you. I retorted, speechless. Crazy. Ethan Hayes chased after me, but around the corner in the hospital lobby, two of Liam Evans's bodyguards appeared and blocked him. I was startled. Then I saw Liam Evans standing in the hallway, looking at me with amusement. There wasn't a trace of sleep on his face. "Sneaking downstairs to see Ethan Hayes while your husband is asleep," Liam Evans said slowly. "No, I didn't. I just came down for some fresh air. I didn't know he was there." I explained frantically. Liam Evans said faintly, "But what I saw was you two having a private meeting." I said with a pained expression, "I really didn't." Liam Evans said, "It's not impossible for me to forgive you, as long as..." My eyes lit up. "As long as what?" Liam Evans continued, "As long as you're never late when picking me up from the airport again. I, the head of the Key family, can't win against him, truly can't win." I wanted to cry, but no tears came. The next day, I couldn't wait to be discharged from the hospital. To my surprise, Ethan Hayes was standing at the hospital entrance, blocking my car. He unfolded a banner. "Olivia, let me pursue you again." Liam Evans looked at me, utterly speechless. Was your taste really that bad back then? I covered my face, feeling too embarrassed to be seen. I don't know how he became such an embarrassment. Liam Evans, please make him leave. Liam Evans called for his bodyguards, but before they could act, a woman walked towards Ethan Hayes. It was Tiffany Miller. She now looked entirely like a shrew, rushing over furiously, scratching and clawing at Ethan Hayes. Ethan Hayes seemed to have a guilty conscience and didn't fight back at all. Tiffany Miller became even more frantic, pointing at Ethan Hayes's nose and yelling, "Ethan Hayes, you're a useless coward. The company is going bankrupt, and you still have the nerve to be here pursuing Olivia? Olivia is already married to Liam Evans. You'll gain nothing here but humiliation." Ethan Hayes stood there, stunned, not saying a word. Ethan Hayes truly felt a bit pathetic now. Perhaps Liam Evans's appearance had shattered all his pride. Tiffany Miller suddenly walked towards our car. She looked at Liam Evans and me with a humble expression, and then, right there on the street, in broad daylight, she knelt down before us. Tiffany Miller pleaded, "Olivia, please be merciful and let us off the hook. At the airport, we didn't recognize your importance. I was wrong. Truly wrong then." She began prostrating. People were coming and going at the hospital, and countless onlookers gathered on the road. Pedestrians pointed and whispered about her, but she seemed not to see or hear them, continuously prostrating before me. I thought for a moment and rolled down the car window. Tiffany Miller was both startled and overjoyed, crawling towards my car on her knees, looking at the groveling and fawning Tiffany Miller. I said coldly, "Does this scene look familiar to you?" Tiffany Miller froze. I said slowly, 3 years ago, when I first met you, you were just as humble. You knelt before me in public for tuition fees, and you would prostrate yourself to me during holidays. Back then, I felt pity for you. I thought you knew how to be grateful. Now I understand that a person who gives up their dignity is the one with no bottom line. People like you are truly terrifying. 3 years ago, you took everything from me. 3 years later, I won't let you succeed again. Tiffany Miller, your tactics don't work on me anymore. Your knees are cheaper than dirt. Your prostrations are worthless. Tiffany Miller's face turned ashen. Suddenly she looked at Liam Evans. "Mr. Evans, I'm younger than Olivia. I can do anything." Like someone clutching at a last straw, she pleaded, "Mr. Evans, please give me a chance, okay?" Liam Evans frowned, ignored her, and rolled up the car window. Our car drove away, leaving behind only Ethan Hayes standing frozen there, and Tiffany Miller still kneeling on the ground. A month later, Ethan Hayes's company went bankrupt. The speed was faster than anyone had imagined, because all the wealthy businessmen were retaliating against Ethan Hayes. After all, at the airport, if it hadn't been for Ethan Hayes, those businessmen wouldn't have offended me and wouldn't have suffered such immense losses, so they unleashed all their fury on Ethan Hayes. Ethan Hayes went bankrupt and accumulated massive debts, becoming a defaulter. Tiffany Miller, meanwhile, began to feel fortunate that she hadn't married Ethan Hayes, thus avoiding carrying the same burden of debt. She tried to latch onto other wealthy men, but her reputation was thoroughly ruined in their circles. No wealthy man would even acknowledge her. Her act of public prostration at the hospital was even spread online by busybodies, who then dragged her entire past through the mud. Even ordinary netizens learned of her biting the hand that feeds you and knowingly being a mistress. On the internet, there was a flood of condemnation against Tiffany Miller. Under these circumstances, Tiffany Miller actually believed that any publicity is good publicity, shamelessly. She started a live stream, hoping to make a fortune by selling products. However, in less than 10 minutes, the live stream was shut down due to numerous reports from netizens. According to the contract, Tiffany Miller had to compensate the suppliers for their losses, like Ethan Hayes. She ended up with massive debts. Several months later, I became pregnant. Liam Evans accompanied me to my prenatal checkup. At the hospital entrance, I saw Ethan Hayes and Tiffany Miller, who were scavenging. The moment they saw me, a malicious gleam appeared in their eyes. But upon seeing the bodyguards beside me, they lowered their heads and fled in a hurry. I said to Liam Evans with some confusion, "Even if they're bankrupt, they shouldn't be scavenging, should they?" Liam Evans said calmly, "No company is willing to hire them. They can't find jobs. And even if they set up a street stall, they wouldn't have any customers. Aside from scavenging, they have no other way to make a living." 2 years later, news reports stated that 2 bodies had been found on a park bench. presumed to be homeless individuals. They had died from food poisoning after consuming tainted food. After identification by the police, the deceased were confirmed to be Tiffany Miller and Ethan Hayes. I didn't pay much attention to the news, as Leo was urging me from the doorway. He wasn't even 2.5 yet, but had already learned to speak. His childish voice, a little slurred, called out, "Mommy, Mommy, hurry up. Well, Miss Daddy's plane." I replied, Coming. If we're late this time, you'll have to take the blame for Mommy, okay?"